Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is the latest Managed Comics Thoughtstream. I'm Brian, your host, as always, repping the Managed Comics new hat. Yeah, we got some cool new merch, and Craig Taras and I have all been wearing the new merch. So yeah, everyone, I'm seeing Brandon and Danica. I'm seeing Tony from UK. I'm seeing my old friend Gord, who's at my local comic shop here, LA Mood Comics and Games, who's having their grand opening just a year after it actually opened um, on Saturday. So congratulations to them. And we're talking spreadsheets with the aggressively relaxing Andrew Foley from Is it Wonderland? Yeah, I think that's what it's called now. BD Cosmo, our old friend Julian. There's Jeff Bixler, who's doing some work with Oxford Comics and Games in Georgia. So welcome everyone. Really excited to have everyone here for our new demo. Yeah, I haven't actually watched it all the way through because I just finished recording it. I was doing some fun After Effects stuff last night, and then this morning I was like, hey, I'll put this video together. So something from the Geek End, our guys from the UK. Good to see you guys. Yeah, Wonder Harbor. It used to be Wonderland, I believe, right? Something like that, Andrew. Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, I'm really excited to get this underway. So why don't I just go ahead and push a magic button? And I think this should work if I do this. Welcome to the amazing Managed Comics demo. Let's get right into things. We're going to start off real quick with the customer interface. So this is what your customers will see when they come to your website. There'll be a subscriptions area now, which is where all the Managed Comics magic happens. Now this area is all powered by us, by Managed Comics. So you don't have to maintain any of the publishers or descriptions or any of that stuff. It all happens. So this customer is going through Boom Studios, and he's going to, of course, probably want to subscribe to Berserker, because who doesn't? So he can see the next issues that are coming up, or the individual issues. So this person is going to subscribe to the cover B and maybe pre-order the cover A. And I guess they're also probably going to pre-order a 1 in 25 variant. No, 1 in 250 or 150, sorry. So from there, they're going to see some things like that their orders for the 2 cover variants are pending. Now, from my subscriptions, of course, the customer can also click on Action Comics, for example, and modify their subscription. So maybe they want to, I don't know, take a look at the upcoming issues or the upcoming covers. They can definitely do that. And if they decide they're going to cancel Action Comics, they'll get a warning that says, are you sure you want to do it? But they have to cancel within the FOC window. Now, as an admin, you can still edit that, but this will just ensure you don't get stuck with stuff. Of course, they also see any outstanding orders that they have pulled recently. There's a bunch of different ways that you can kind of subdivide the information. So when you're going into the November 2021 listings, you can also go down to individual publishers. You can take a look at things by type. So maybe I want to see comics and I just want to see the comics from a specific publisher. Or if I want to take a look at graphic novels and I only want to see the Archie graphic novels, let's say. So if I scroll down here to the Archie comics, I'll just see anything from Archie. Of course, browsing by type, I can take a look at clothing and just see what kind of apparel is available. This right now shows you kind of everything, so you'll see it, all the different variations of a clothing item. We can also take a look at novels, and the browse by type is entirely configurable by you on the back end. So you can change that however you want. We can look at things by release date. And when we get to release date, you're going to see that somebody can't just subscribe to something that's on the release date. So for example, this Marvel Masterworks is out this week. It's no longer available for pre-order, but you could still subscribe to that product. Now on FOCs, you can still pre-order or subscribe to something that's on an FOC. If I go ahead and subscribe to this item, I can get all of the upcoming Amazing Spider-Man Beyond titles as they come out. And of course, we have a full functioning search. So if somebody wants to find we only find them when they're dead. Easy for me to say. Very, very simple for them to go ahead and subscribe to a title like that. Now, the pre-order approval process ensures that you don't get stuck with things and that customers can get the things that they've ordered. So right out of the gate, you're going to notice on the customer activity screen, which is the first thing you see, you're going to see anything that has been recently pre-ordered. So now you can just go ahead and approve something like Berserker, or if you need to do some finagling, let's say that the B cover is a special variant and you have to charge a little more for it, I'm going to go ahead and say $5 and I'm going to do discount exempt. And then I'll just have to type in a note just saying, this is a premium cover, $5, no discount. And then I just send that to the customer. Now on the front end, this is where this is interesting. This will actually show up for the customer when I log into my subscriptions. I take a look at my subscriptions and there's my pre-order and it says there, premium cover, $5 no discount. So I can accept or deny that at that point because kind of the price has changed. I didn't really know what the price was going to be before, but I'm going to go ahead and accept it as a customer. So this gives you a really, really quick and easy look as a customer at which things you've pre-order, which have been accepted. At the top, you see the things that have been declined if something gets declined. And yeah, that's a quick view for you. Let's talk managing customers now. So I'm on my customer list here, which is under customers, and I can go ahead and edit a existing subscription. So let's say I want to end it, so I can do a final pull, or if I just want to straight up delete it, I can get rid of that off there. The difference is that Last Ride number 7 will continue to be pulled until number 7 is out. But if I want to add a subscription, let's say I'm going to look for Legion, and I'll do a search and I can see Justice League versus the Legion is down here. So I can go ahead and subscribe the customer to that. Or if I want to pre-order a specific cover and make the discount exempt, I can do that. And that kind of bypasses the whole approval process of the pre-order system. From here, we can go ahead and edit pre-orders. So if there's a specific pre-order I need to edit, I can get in there and make changes to things like that as well. So yeah, overall, you've got a lot of control over your customer things, including changing the start date of when something, like let's say that somebody comes in and says, I really want to get next week's book. You can definitely change the start date so that they qualify for it. You can also find any of your customers who are in your regular Shopify customer list and then just go ahead and add them as well. Now, current customer totals is going to show you everything that is currently available. So this looks at all of the current titles that are out and how many issues you need. By looking at customer activity here, we can also see pre-orders waiting for acceptance or declined pre-orders, and customer changes shows you based on a date range what has been changed in lists. So it's really, really easy for you to get in there and find out in the last 4 days or 5 days what's changed. And then finally, the all customers area will show you all of your customers with their discounts. And so it shows both the standard calculated discount based on your settings, which we'll talk about settings later, and also any discount that you kind of supersede over top of them. Maybe they're a super loyal customer or an employee and you have a different discount rate for those folks. So you can definitely, change those and then save that out. Now let's talk pulls and check-in. So The pull system is actually really a check-in system. We're going to pull in a couple of invoices here. I'll bring in a diamond invoice and a lunar invoice. I formatted these a little bit so that I would have kind of the results that I want in a demo, and I'm not getting any surprises. But you go through and you'll edit all of your quantities. So you basically, check things in and say, okay, Alien, I had 5 damaged copies, 0 shortages. Amazing Spider-Man, I got 63 actual units. 2 of them were damaged, so 5 of them were shorted. I go through and do that for everything. Then the next step is to select which titles I'm going to save for subscription. So I go through and this all makes sense. Maybe there's one thing like Little Shop of Horrors came in last week. So this is a reorder and I don't need to pull that. So I can go ahead and uncheck that. I go through the whole list just like with the last thing. And at the end of it, I'm going to find a next button. I click next on that. This is anything left over that I want to import into my store. So if I want to reserve some stuff behind, I wouldn't add that, but otherwise I'll just, leave all of this because this is just going to be the extra things. If I get something like this where, I've got a cover that's missing, I can go out and grab a cover. So I'm going to actually grab copy the image location and I'll paste that in here. And this will go out and fetch that image and add it. And you'll see that the little picture there changed. So we can go ahead and do that with all the images. I'm only going to do the one because I'm a bit of a hurry here. Next up, we can also see things that are missing from my invoice. So they're on the invoice, but they're not in the database. Now, a lot of this is the Deadpool pewter keyring that was probably added kind of later in the calendar cycle. Sometimes that stuff gets missed. Some of it might be old stock that they've changed the URL, the diamond code on. So we just enter all the data in. If you put in the UPC and ISBN code, we're actually going to make it so that is searchable so that you can just enter the USB code and get any of the data we have in the database. Problem right now is we've got 12 years of data and some of it is kind of conflicting. So, but that is a quick way to get the data in so that you can actually add those products as well. And we've got tags here, so I'm going to add a couple tags. I'll add a new release tag for this week. I'm also going to add a custom tag for just the test upload so that I can find these things really easily later. This is just kind of for me. Then this is just a review and confirmation screen. So when we see things that are gold or red, it's just letting us know that there's something different. And finally, this was real time. That's how quickly your subscription list will get generated. So this is literally what I need to pull for each one of my customers. The price that's shown over there is exclusive of discounts and everything. So that's just the list price on it. This is the shortages report. So this will actually tell you what you were shorted in a period by publisher. So you'll see, or distributor, I should say, by Diamond and then Lunar and Penguin Random House if you have any. So this is a great way to kind of go back also and review this over time because this just stays there. So if, for example, Batman Noel came out this week, but I didn't get any, that lets me know that the next time it comes in, it'll get pulled by the system. So it's just a really quick kind of review of those things. Now, this also creates orders. We're going to change this in the future. So this is kind of a 2-week stopgap, but right now it creates orders for everyone. And it figures out the taxes based on either their location, if it's something that's shipped to them, or your location, if it's something that is local pickup. Like I said, we'll be changing this a little bit because right now these are all custom items and they're not using your actual stock. So we want to change that so we can do better stock tracking. That'll come out in a couple weeks and I'll just edit this little video to change that that little part. Let's see. So in the products now, we're going to take a look at some of those products. I've got the new release tag in there. I'm going to pull up the products and let's find our human target that we changed. I'm just going to scroll down here. Human target. Yeah, there we go. It is the C cover, yeah. So I changed this cover, and there's the updated cover. This is all the data that you get in there. It takes a little while for this to come in, but we get everything, including cost per item, SKU, barcode, all the tags that we've added, and then the vendor and the type of comics. I'm going to just save this because I made a couple changes while I was in there. And then on the front end, you'll see that all your comics are here. And what's cool is that every new title actually has a subscribe to series. So your customers can actually subscribe to the series from the front end as well. And they can pre-order upcoming issues or subscribe to the current issue or pre-order the current issue if it's before FOC. This one here had an FOC of October 17th, so we're past that FOC now. We also have some ordering kind of helpers, which will help you do both your initial orders and your FOC orders. So for initial orders, it's really simple. We pull up a Diamond, Penguin Random House, or Lunar report, which has all the titles that need to be ordered. There's an export feature which lets you export it to text. And we also have a CSV download if you want to just kind of do things with it. FOCs are a little more complicated. You actually have to upload a file and then recalculate your quantities. You just push a button after you've, if you want to come back to this thing in order to recalculate your current quantities for anything. But this is really, really easy because this file can be uploaded to Diamond. With Lunar, you have to do some special things because they do appending orders, and same with Penguin Random House. Let's talk about our settings. So our basic settings in the system are pretty easy to use. You can change the colors of your buttons. So your front end button, if you know some HTML and some hex codes, that will come in handy here. You can also click on those things, the select, and choose a color. If you're Canadian or UK, you're going to see an exchange rate. We can add the ISBN +7. We have terms of service you can change. You can update your discount rates, and we have the ability to do tiered discounting based on the number of subscriptions. So not pre-orders, this is subscription exclusive. So if you want to change any of that. In terms of publishers, you can go ahead and add or remove publishers. If you're having a hard time getting specific publishers, you can remove stuff. You can also change the distributors based on kind of what we have in the distributor logs. And as those change, we'll update them on our end. And then finally, you can change types and add or remove things. And so if I've added games here, when I go browse by type on the front end, I'm going to see games now. And so I can go ahead and offer games as another product. And those will all be pre-ordered, so they'll be on the pre-order process. We have really, really exhaustive help, and our help is changing and improving all the time. So an example would be if you just want to see kind of how the pre-order process works, you can see this little help page that talks about the pre-order process. I'm building a better FAQ all the time. Right now it only has one item, but I'll be constantly adding to the FAQ. And we go through and add new features and new help all the time, and really want to make sure that it's comprehensive and that it's got everything you need. And then, of course, if at any point you need to contact us, there's an entire contact form. You can go ahead and choose like a screenshot if you have a screenshot of a problem. And that is the Managed Comics demo. Oh, I was muted. Not muted anymore. Okay. Yeah, we got some questions there. And if anybody has other questions, shoot them in now. And we're going to go through questions one by one, starting with Jeff, who said, does the customer get notified via email about the counteroffer for the pre-order? So right now, no. That whole thing needs a little bit of massaging. We will add that probably in the next couple of weeks while we're doing our big kind of changes. So we actually didn't have a Managed Comics email system for Managed Comics too. We thought we were just going to use Shopify for everything because we send out draft order notices and things like that through Shopify. But as we started doing this whole pre-order thing, we realized that we do need our own email system. I can't even send out like my monthly email that I send out for Managed Comics 1.0 now. So we'll definitely build that. We have all the infrastructure. We just need to build an interface so that all that stuff will actually work. So great question. Not right now, but we'll have that shortly. Charles LePage of Comic List asked, can the customer and or shop search for titles by order code? And if so, what orders are used for Marvel since PRH uses ISBN and UPC codes? So yes, you can search by order code, by title, by... Oh, there's a bunch of different things, but yeah, by ISBN, by UPC, both on the customer end and on the back end, everything is cross, searchable. So if it's a Penguin, a UPC code, you can search by that. If it's a Diamond code, you can search by that. So even all the Marvel stuff still has Diamond code. So we're kind of cross platform in terms of all the different codes for sure. Denica says, does the custom discount add to the regular discount or replace it? It replaces the regular discount. So by default, whatever your store setting is, like let's say it's 10%, that would be kind of everybody's discount, right? But if you put in 45% for your own stuff so that you're getting your own discount, then that will override the regular discount. Dal from Challengers asks, is there a way to add multiple customers to one title in bulk, like adding all of our X-Men subscribers? You always ask the best questions. Nope, haven't even thought of that. Really good idea. Just thinking about the interface. That's a good one. I think that would be really cool. What I'd really like to do though is get to like the family kind of thing so that you can have all X-Men family stuff. But yeah, this makes a lot of sense. Like, if you were a Hickman X-Men person, then you should be on Inferno. Totally. Andrew Foley says, for non-US retailers, are the customer visible prices adjustable? Yeah, so this is cool. We do, just like with Managed Comics 1.0, we have the whole exchange system. So if you change your exchange rate to 1 to 2, which is this week's exchange rate, then all the pricing gets adjusted. For our UK friends, we're actually going to change it to a pricing, I can't think of a word, like a list, so $3.99 US is $3.29 UK or whatever, because there's like a mapping list, right? So we're going to create one of those. We can do the same thing for Canada, and I think we've talked about that with Julian from BD Cosmos, because in the store you probably have a certain list price that you say, so that you're not changing it every week. Yeah, we can definitely do the same thing. Craig Oliphant, my partner, says raise hands, and then he actually raises hands. Love it. Fifth Dimension Toys, this is amazing. Well, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Michael Thompson asks if we can show how the checkout process works. Are checkouts done using Shopify point of sale? Yeah, so you can actually, so right now, unfortunately, you have to add the draft orders plugin, but we're making some significant changes in the next 2 weeks. And this is why we're not like everything's ready except for this tiny little piece that is really kind of core. We were building all of our draft invoices by creating, they're called custom products. Unfortunately, that means you don't get any tracking. It also means that you can't add shipping to the products. There's a bunch of different things. And for us Canadians, we've got a bunch of really weird tax rules where different provinces have different rules around what is and isn't taxable. So we can't put all those rules in place and stuff like that with the special items. So we'll definitely be kind of tweaking this in the next couple of weeks in order to do that. And then the process of moving it over. So we're going to actually create a tile on the Shopify point of sale. If I can find a developer that can actually develop for the Shopify point of sale, otherwise I'm gonna have to figure it out myself. So a tile where they will actually, you'll be able to log into Manage Comics and make changes to customer orders, and also take pulled orders and move them into your cash register. And a pulled order like accumulates. It's not like you get 5 different orders over the course of a month. You get one pulled order that just keeps on growing. And once you pull it in, then you'll have it there. What's cool about this, though, is we'll be able to do some cool reporting on kind of like how long stuff stays in people's bins, or you'll be able to pull a delinquent files report and things like that, like really, really quickly be able to do those things. Challengers ask, where can we get a Managed Comics calf like yours? So far, these are super limited edition. There are only 3 of these in existence. My kids and Craig's kids both want caps. So yeah, there'll probably be a limited run of caps at some point. Craig says, do you guys like the Managed Comics robot logo? The little dude. He's my favorite. Oh, Brandon says, I really love the oh, that's actually Danica. I really love the logo. Dream Days says, when adding customers to a new title, do you have to pull up each customer to add it customer by customer? That's exactly what Dal asked earlier. Yeah, right now you would have to. I see what you guys want, where you want to be able to find a title and then just add customers, which is the opposite. Shouldn't be too bad, but we haven't created that yet. Good call. Looks like Eva. That was totally the idea, because our old robot from Managed Comics 1.0 is very square, and I wanted something kind of Apple looking. And then I realized that Eva was kind of the whole idea, the exact same idea. Any other questions? Anything you guys want me to dive into a little bit deeper? Because I can definitely pull up my a browser and we can go through any individual things. I'm actually going to show you a couple of cool things that I've been playing around with too. Let me give this guy here. Yeah, that's the one I want. When will we be able to get cycle sheet reports and know how many copies were sold to subscribers versus how many copies sold off the rack? Yeah, so that is something that we'll be working on after we get this next big push out. So really, the first version is going to have kind of our rudimentary reporting. We will be adding cycle sheets and all that good stuff as well. That's kind of like the first thing after we get the actual product launched. And we've got this mapped completely out. I know exactly what it is we need to do for that thing. It's not terribly, it's fairly straightforward, but it is a lot of work. So it's not like this is a super trivial thing, but it's a relatively straightforward kind of idea. Charles asks, can the information in Managed Comics be exported into Excel format, for instance, to assist people who attempt to keep track of release dates? Charles, we should talk offline about GeekFetch, because I think it'll do that a lot better than this. But yeah, you definitely can export most things into Excel. Again, that kind of goes with our data portability kind of philosophy. We believe that Managed Comics is a tool and it's your data. So it's not my data. I don't want your data. So you definitely have the ability to get your data back out. I'm just going to flip into the back end for a second. This is something really cool that I discovered recently. We have some customers that like to have everything in their point of sale, obviously, but don't like to have it on their website for the first couple of weeks. So I'm actually tagged everything this week with the new release, and then I'm going to go ahead and edit the products. I could select all, like there's 114 products this week. I'm going to go ahead and just edit these ones. Now I can add a field which is available to online store, and I can super quick just like uncheck. I wish there was an uncheck all, but there's not. But I can go ahead and uncheck them, or I can actually set when it should publish. So Dal, I know you guys at Challengers like to do it a week later, so we can actually set it to be available in the online store immediately and published for next week for the available in the point of sale immediately and published for next week here. So yeah, we can do that, which is pretty neat. Again, I wish you could just do this once, and like it is a little bit painful that I'd have to do that 114 times. Now that we know this exists, I'm going to look and see if the API can do some of these things, because that would be super cool if we could actually just set this and you wouldn't have to worry about it. But yeah, once I'm done that, I can save it and it edits everything. So that's one of the good things about having those weekly kind of tags when you're doing things. Danica says, you know my feelings, wouldn't uncheck all option. Yeah, unfortunately, I can't edit Shopify itself. I wish I could, but if we could, that'd be pretty cool. I see any questions that I can dive into a little deeper from the managed comics front. Anybody have something they'd like to see a little bit more thoroughly? I can go through the reporting. Let me go through some of the reporting stuff a little bit more in depth. Subscription product shortages. This is a really cool report because this tells you what you need to order or what you're missing. We probably need to get the codes in there. One of the problems that we solved is that if you get more Batman Noels in the future, it will actually pull them for all the people that were shorted it. So that's a great thing. Is there a customer facing page which shows everything that's up for this week? FOC, yeah. And this is something that we're working on in terms of data. We've got a bunch of data things to kind of clean up because the FOCs, especially right now, are a nightmare. They keep changing, and a lot of this stuff is often wrong. So we're going through and kind of manually updating stuff, and I've got a plan to get in there and get more of this data quicker. Sorry, I gotta uncheck that. Jeff asks, is there a way to prioritize customers in the way their pulls are fulfilled? So right now it's done by kind of first in, first out. So the first person subscribed to something would get it before the last person. We don't really have like a prioritization on the actual customer level. I know that's not the best answer in the world, but that is just the way it is. So you also can override the store. Can override things like start dates, and that's a good one to show you. I'll go back to customers here, and I kind of talked about this in the demo a little bit, but it got glossed over, I feel. Let's say that we want to make sure that you get the next issue of Justice League, because I just added this. We can actually select the start date to be like a few weeks ago, so that now I'm kind of overriding that FOC thing. So I can actually start it earlier than what it's actually expected to start as. So if somebody added, like, I can't remember what was on FOC for last week. Well, if somebody added Hulk #1, they wouldn't get Hulk #1 unless we adjusted the start date. I was showing something here with ordering. Yeah, this is the one that we kind of glossed over. I went through this really, really quickly. So the ordering is down to vendors. So I can actually find each one of the vendors. And this is a CSV report that just lets you kind of get in there and mangle the data however you'd like. This is the export to text file that Diamond and Lunar require. And Penguin Random House has a CSV that they ask for initial orders. I know a lot of shops don't even do initial orders. So we have the FOC files. With this, you actually have to upload a file for Diamond, which has your current quantity. Over time, we're going to get better at actually knowing what you initially ordered. So we'll have that information as well. But we don't always have the FOC, like what's actually available on the FOC that week. So I still think that this will be necessary to upload some sort of a file. But we'll definitely be able to kind of cross-check it against, what you've ordered through Managed Comics. Now, that said, there's no reason why you can't just hop on the phone and call your rep and change things or change stuff on the web. Um, you can shift click. You're blowing my mind here. You're kidding me. Shift click to edit a range of flag boxes in Shopify. That's super cool. I'm going to have to try that and see if that'll work for me. Looking at the lunar order. So every time you come to this page, you are going to have to hit this recalculate subscription quantity. We tried to have it reload on load, but because there's so much JavaScript nonsense going on with the with the various pages in, like, being part of Shopify means that we're actually using JavaScript to render all this stuff. So that means it's just safest if every time you come in here, you just get in the habit of recalculating your quantity. Downloading the CSV report. So for Lunar, you've got to be really, really careful because when you upload that report, it actually becomes it appends to your current quantity. So if you've got 6 already and you add another 6, you'll end up with 12. Just little things that you got to keep in mind. That's the way Penguin Random House works as well. I'm hoping some of those things will change over time. I would love to get some access directly to their systems so that we could talk back and forth, but I don't think any of these guys are ready for that level of sophistication yet. Dream Days asks, I'm looking at the GeekFetch website. What's available if I create an account? So GeekFetch is in a state of non-development right now. It's still our database and we use it for everything. And I use it to create data for new stores when I'm creating a store. That's kind of one of the things that I'll do occasionally is build stores. So Oxford Books and Games, I'm building their store right now. So you can use it to generate Shopify formatted files and WordPress formatted files. But we actually have an app that we'll be rebuilding probably January, February, a GeekFetch app for people that don't really need the whole managed comic stuff, but also want to have products and stuff. And we plan on getting into more products than just comics. We're going to get into games and all that stuff as well. So it'll be really easy to upload your weekly invoices when they come in. And I'd like to do kind of the same check-in mentality where you check and confirm that you got as much, and we can create, damages and loss reports. Our game pre-orders only via Diamond Previews catalogers and integration with BinderPause. Right now, we only integrate with Diamond, Lunar, and Penguin Random House. We don't have any integration with BinderPause for pre-orders. We will be building out on the pre-order system over the next few months. There's kind of a phase 2 enhancement is to add pre-order deposits for things, which is going to require us to kind of get in there and finagle around with some of the unbundling Games Workshop stuff and sorry, not Games Workshop, Wizards of the Coast stuff and things like that. There's no consistent data for that stuff right now, but we'll start getting in there and doing some of that. I shouldn't say there isn't consistent data. There is. It's just not in the format that we need it right now. Yeah, one of the cool things that we've added recently is when you do your polls, you saw that I added a book that wasn't in our database. We're going to tweak that a little bit so that you can actually add, I was playing around with my scanner the other day. I want to change it so that you can scan the UPC and then go back to GeekFetch and find all of the instances of that particular book. So the problem is, especially with Lunar, we don't have all of the Lunar codes because they have their own bunch of codes. So they've got books from 2013, 2008 with a Lunar code that we don't actually have a corresponding thing. But I guarantee you we have Dark Knight. I guarantee you we have, Batman Year One. So if we can scan the UPC, then we can get all that information. You don't have to type it in, and we won't be creating duplicates that I keep on having to say, no, this is a duplicate. No, this is a duplicate. So this system is just getting smarter every week. My favorite thing is that by Thursday, any of the images that are missing for the week are recovered. So I've got an entire back end where I approve all the images. I'm also, that's one of the big things that we'll be fixing in terms of the data is I want to start fetching the data multiple times a week so that we're getting updated FOCs and updated images when they get updated and all that stuff as well. Right now it's a manual process where I go through and every Monday remember to go and get all the data. Every Tuesday I remember to go and check this file, and Wednesdays I check this file and make sure the new releases are updated, and it's a nightmare. Any other questions for me? Let me turn off Michael's question here. And integrating more with BinderPause is definitely something that I'd love to do in the future. Those guys are just so busy that kind of getting a hold of them to do anything is sometimes a Herculean effort in and of itself. The help stuff here, I really, really want to improve a lot on. So over the next probably month, this will be my main kind of focus. So we use Help Scout as our help ticketing system, which I love, but their knowledge base leaves a lot to be desired. It's really hard to like organize things. So I don't know if this will be our final kind of iteration. I may just hack up a WordPress instance because that's what I like to do. If I upload an invoice with mixed reorders and new, will it know those items already exist? So have already been pulled or have already, in essence, should I ignore reorders and only upload the new items, or will it adjust quantity on existing items? Yeah, it will adjust quantity. Although, interesting question there is, if I upload an invoice from Penguin Random House for a product that I've previously gotten from Diamond, what would happen? That's a good question. I'm gonna have to look into that and see, will it create a second version of that? But because we're basing everything on the UPC code, in theory, that shouldn't happen, because UPC codes have become kind of our de facto standard for everything, even though they're not always perfect. More often than not, they are. So that's our hope. Right now, Managed Comics isn't smart enough to know that you pulled something last week and that you got a reorder on it this week. So you do have to uncheck that. But that's a flaw that's actually being addressed. So that's a known bug that I've got with the guys. Because I want to say, if I pulled, so what's interesting is if I pull Hulk #1 next week and I get 10 copies, but I have 15 people on it, it'll know that I've got 5 that I still have to pull. So the next time Hulk #1 comes in, it'll actually pull those 5, but won't pull the initial 10. But then in 2 weeks, if Hulk comes in again, it'll try and pull Hulk again. So I'm not like, that's obviously a bug. So I got to get that one fixed. But good question, Andrea. Any other questions for me? We're running up into the 45-minute range. I'm going to go to a webinar right after this. For Craig and I bought a service called AirMeet a while ago, which was supposed to let us do virtual conferences. And I've been thinking about doing like a virtual Managed Comics conference for a while now. Probably we'd do it in like January, February when it's cold and nobody wants to meet in person anyway. And it's also like a good time to start thinking about different things. So we'd bring in, we've got a buddy that does like photography and that kind of stuff. So bring him in to talk about Instagram and photography. By the way, Craig's hearing this for the first time, that this is why I'm going to go do this webinar after this. But yeah, we're still thinking about doing a Managed Comics, like a online seminar day where we would do a whole bunch of stuff. Give me a thumbs up in chat if you think that's a good idea. I just think it would be fun to do. And maybe we'd have some swag, hats to give away and stuff like that. Yeah, let me see if there's anything else out of Managed Comics. I just realized that there's no way to get back to Managed Comics from my my help. Settings we've gone through before, polls we've gone through, ordering we went through just now, reporting, so our diamond shortages, subscribed products, and held back shortages. Customer changes. So this is a cool report. This tells you what was changed by customers recently. Are all customers, lets you get in there and edit the customer discounts, and you can add subscriber IDs. One of the things I'd like to do in the future is actually kind of automate this so that everybody gets a subscriber ID, because right now you have to kind of manually build these guys, and that doesn't seem great. Oh, yes, it has. Has multiple covers been implemented now for customers? Yeah, that's the whole, that's kind of what brought about the pre-order system, because obviously when you're getting into a 1 in 25 situation, you need to have some way of managing that 1 in 25 variant. I just pre-ordered the D and the B showed up. Interesting. Very interesting. So short answer is yes, but this just went live this week and I'm seeing a bug already. I'll have to fix that one. How do you handle a single order code that is connected to multiple covers, otherwise known as an intermix variant? I don't really have a way of, and they have the same UPC code? Because how do you even handle that on the cash register end, if that's the case? So I don't have an answer to that, Charles. Currently, we don't. We just assume that it's all going to make sense. Apparently, it doesn't always. Great. Huh. Way to throw a spanner in the works, Charles. Boom likes to do this. Yeah, you know what? I know what you're talking about now. Yeah, I've seen those things. Boom also just basically wrecks everything. They just like to throw things in trouble. One more thing about Shopify integration. Will it show the customer that related cover? Will it show the customer that the related covers that are in stock? So in terms of, that's a great question. I don't know. I think it's all based on related items. So, and to be honest, that's kind of a theme dependent thing, and I don't know how this works exactly on this theme. If it's looking for the word Venom number 1 first, we do put some code behind the scenes, and we could probably build like some code on the front end to show something like that in the future. We basically tag our GeekFetch series code to every single product that we add, which means that then those are all interlinked. And then if you had, we tag the issue number, so number 1, and we could say these are all similar covers. But on the front end, no, we don't really have a whole lot of control over this stuff, other than the things that we inject. And this is a very specific case where we can inject this. By the way, guys, I just want to say you're ruining my day with this intermix cover thing, and 1 order code and 1/10 of those orders is a unique cover. Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about now. Yeah, we don't deal with that because that's stupid. And comic companies should not be. I don't know why we reward people for bad behavior. I really don't. And companies doing that kind of stuff is ridiculous. It makes everybody's life worse. Yeah, uh, I don't have a solution for that right now. How is like anybody dealing with that right now? It doesn't even make sense. Gosh, I'll have to talk to a couple people and see what their thoughts are on that. Any other questions before we wrap her up for the day? I'm going to go grab a beverage before my next my next webinar thing. Brandon, yeah. Comics company should not be the story of the past 18 months. Oh my god, the 18 months. It's like, yeah, you sound like Stu now. Oh, well, that's just mean. That's just. So the thing is, I don't want to force people to do things my way, but there does have to be a system in place. And if somebody can explain to me how the system works, we can figure out a way to make to jam, that stuff into the system. But if it's just like whims and prayers, like that's not a system. You can't build something around that. Retailer, thank you, very answer. Yeah, but so that's a super special case, and they have everything they need to be a product. Like they have their own unique codes and everything. Um, but yeah, that you can't really, because a lot of the time they're just kind of sprung upon you. We usually have the data for them, but there's no, whatever. Always a question is the launch date. So launch date is a moving target, but I'm pretty confident in about 2 weeks that we'll be launching fully, and I'm going to kind of control the launch because I end up getting in and helping people with the initial deployment, and really it takes 10-15 minutes for me to get into your store and do a couple tweaks to the theme to make kind of the front end stuff show up. Just originally I was just giving people instructions, and it was kind of hit or miss. Some folks are really, really good with that stuff and they can get in there and do it. But 9 times out of 10, I was answering an hour and a half's worth of questions when it takes 10 minutes to do the initial setup for me, which is like dead simple, and not something you're going to have to do again. So, but we do have documentation on all that good stuff. Julian, it's just intermix. You guys are killing me. Yeah, we will next week. Diamond is sending a Pantha ash can. How quickly does Manix Comics handle something like that? So it depends. If the data that seems familiar, I think that's already out there. So we would have that data now, most likely. And if we do, then it's already there. If we don't have that data, then you just enter in the data yourself. You enter in it'll show up as something that isn't on your invoice. You enter the stuff in for it, like, the description and the picture and stuff like that. You hit submit. I get an alert that says that the first person has put this thing in. So then I go ahead and approve it or disapprove it. And whichever one I do, if I approve it, then now that's available to the entire network. So everybody has the same thing. So yeah, like honestly, I find that that's actually more accurate as well than hoping that Diamond will get the information to us in a timely manner. And there's just too many things for us to keep track of to be able to get every one of them. But yeah, this has worked pretty well in the last few weeks, I think. All right, folks. Thanks for breaking my brain at the end there with the intermix, which is not a term I'd ever heard before. Although I understand the concept of it and I've seen it in practice. But yeah, that broke my brain today. That was like the time that Katie Pride said that UPC codes get reused, and we've based everything in our system off of UPC codes. Awesome. So great. So great. Anyway, Thank you so much for joining us this week, and we will be here next week. I'm not sure about time. I'm not sure about day. I go in for jury duty selection on Monday, and if I end up getting selected, that could put a little bit of a wrinkle in my days for the next little while. But well, if anything, we'll just do it a little bit later at night, which always works for me anyway. I can do these things any time of the day or night. So tune in next week, same bat channel, but we don't know what bat time necessarily yet. But I'll keep everybody up to date and let you know what's going on. That will do it for this week, and thank you so much for joining us.